But moving on, a couple of companies in focus today. First up is Happiest Minds. My colleague Rucha was earlier able to speak to the MD and CFO, Venkatraman Narayanan, and CEO Joseph, and they began by asking about the quarter gone by. Listening to a conversation.
Not really. In fact, let me give you a perspective. We have grown 17.8% in constant currency terms year over year. In rupee terms, that is an 18.7% growth. Our EBITDA, which is the measure of profitability, has grown 13.3% year over year. Sequentially, we have grown in dollar terms 11.4%. And EBITDA has grown 7.38%. So if you look at it, it's an all-round growth. The declines that you're talking about are essentially below EBITDA lines because, the results include two acquisitions that we made during the last quarter, which is Pure Software. 40 days of those results have been integrated into our results, and 38 days of results of Aureus has also gotten integrated into our results. So this is quite an eventful quarter. And when you do such integrations and acquisitions, you have certain costs which come out of it. So there's a one-time cost of about 6.5 crores, which has hit our P&L. Unfortunately, like in the old days, you can't capitalize acquisition costs. You have to hit your P&L. And incidentally, we had a 13 crore one-time write-back in the previous quarter. So if you look at it, a swing of almost 20 crores from Q4 of last year to Q1 of this year. And just for that, our profitability has remained pretty much stable, which is clearly shown out in the EBITDA numbers, 24.2 to 23.9. Despite all of this happening. So you see, you have to show off all these one-times and adjustments and non-cash charges which come out. We are pretty much in a good operating range right now. And again, comparing it with the industry, a 17% plus growth year over year is a brilliant performance. And we believe the headline to a press release is a great performance after our IPO. And we are set on our target of growth to reach that $1 billion, vision by 2031. Many of the other metrics that my colleague will talk about will also substantiate what I'm saying. Just to give you a headline number, we have increased our $1 million customers from 48 to 58. Our average revenue per customer has moved from $780 to $840,000. Generative AI, which is the new BU that we started, is today contributing to 1.5% of our total business. It's an investment business. We are investing into that, which has an impact on profitability. But, we are calling it out separately, which most of us are not doing. And it's about 1.5% of our business. And third and most final thing is we have entered into newer geographies of Asia Pacific, Mexico, Africa. Some of it organic, some of it through the acquisitions that we have made. So it's taken us into all these geographies where we are able to penetrate deeper into our existing and the new set of customers. Finally, all verticals, if you see, except for manufacturing, has grown in both absolute terms and percentage terms, showing strong, strength in the business that we are in.
Right. Okay. So one-off is what led to the numbers going down. So do you expect this kind of one-off from inorganic business to carry forward to second quarter as well?
You won't have the one-off, the credit of 13 crores in the last quarter or the debit of 6.5 crores in this quarter. So that should not, come into our numbers in the next quarter. But that said, acquisitions do come up with some of these accounting debits like unwinding of interest cost or, write-off of intangibles. Looking at from a financial standpoint, these are non-cash charges, but we will have to take it. But the growth that comes from these, the growth that we show from these acquisitions should, cover up for all of that over the next couple of quarters.
Right. Okay, gentlemen, let me talk to you about the segmental change that has happened this kind of quarter. So from what my understanding tells me is that the digital business is being integrated into the product and engineering line, while we have introduced another line of generative AI. Is that correct?
That's right. Yes.
Sure. So can you tell us more about the digital bit and the traction in the generative AI which you expect going ahead? Because you've introduced this new segment which likely means that good traction is expected in this kind of segment.
Yes. So as we had announced 9 months back, we had formed a generative AI business unit, and it's off to a pretty flying start. If you ask me, we're very happy with the progress we've made. As Venkat pointed out, we have a team of around 100 people that are dedicated to this business unit, and we've trained around 75% of our Happiest Minds team on generative AI, and we plan to cover the rest in the next 3 months or so. In terms of conversations, we've had around 55 conversations with customers. We've done 20 POCs thus far, and this spans both horizontal and vertical use cases. By horizontal, what I mean is use cases that cover horizontal processes that are applicable across industry groups. And there are some that are very specific to a vertical. Like, for instance, if you're using GenAI to figure out how the reporting to FDA should be done, how do you ensure that that the documentation that you're providing has been validated? That would be very specific to a vertical. But there are others like customer service, field support, and things like that cut across verticals. So we are seeing traction in both, and as I said, we have around 20 POCs that we've done, and the next step for us is to convert these into larger implementation projects. In terms of segmental outlook, I just wanted to clarify on the manufacturing number, which looks like a degrowth, and we do have a little bit of impact on a couple of projects that ended at the beginning of the quarter, and that we are discussing with customers on the next phases. There are 2 accounts that got reclassified. Initially the work was more on the manufacturing side, but then we realized that the subsequent work that we're doing orients them more towards high-tech and industrial. So we've reclassified that. But as such, we don't see much of continuous impact in the manufacturing space, and we expect the numbers to, on a quarter-on-quarter basis, to start showing growth after having abstracted those 2 reclassifications that we've done. BFSI and healthcare have benefited by both organic growth as well as the acquisitions that we made. Both Aureus and PureSoft have, PureSoft has banking and financial services as its prime vertical, with healthcare being second largest, and Aureus has insurance and as being the primary segment, with healthcare being the secondary segment. Both of these have seen a fair bit of growth, but across geos and verticals, if you look at it on an absolute basis, on a quarter-on-quarter, there's been a pretty good growth.
Okay, well, that was the management of Happiest Minds telling us as to how the quarter has gone by and how FY25 is shaping up for them. But with that, it's time to slip into a short break.